So, the new Christmas comedy film Cup of Cheer has just been released. Shall we talk about it? Roll the titles. Hi guys, it is Mr. Scotchy Pine. I am back for another video. As I said in the intro, I will be talking about the new comedy Christmas film Cup of Cheer, a new independently released Christmas film. Before I do jump into that review though, please do make sure you hit that like button if you do enjoy this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, general movie talk, and of course a weekly movie news. If that does sound like your sort of thing, please do go and hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. So, let's jump into the Cup of Cheer. The first thing you need to know about this film, it is a parody film. It is a parody of all those cheesy Hallmark Christmas films you get every year, where it's a really obvious storyline, it's the acting's over the top, it's funny because it's so bad and cringy at times. This film basically parodies all of that and turns it into a 90-minute comedy. It follows the same kind of storyline, the same sort of cringe, but in a way that does make you laugh. So I say that at the get-go because I think you need to know what the filmmakers are trying to accomplish with this film before going into it. So I would recommend, if you've not seen the trailer for this film, I'd watch that before you see the film, because then you get a taste and a feel of what they're trying to achieve. Because I think if you don't, this film can go over your head a bit and it becomes a difficult watch, I believe. But if you know what they're trying to get at and the direction they're going in, then you can really enjoy this film properly. So this film tells the story of a young woman. She's a reporter and she lives in the big city, and she's given the task of going to the small town and writing an article. The small town happens to be the small town where she grew up, and while there she meets a boy, a love interest, who runs not a coffee shop but a hot chocolate shop, and who's running debts and only has until Christmas Eve to basically pay their rent or they'll go under and have to close. So the two of them, along with the love interest's brother and a random time-travelling English prince, set out on a quest to save the business. That's the general storyline. It's a storyline you've seen a million times over in cheesy Hallmark films. Obviously, the idea of the film is to take that storyline and run with it, and they do that 100%. Obviously, it tells all this in a very tongue-in-cheek, laughs along the way, making fun of itself film, and it does. But the actors, let's start with that, none of whom I've seen in anything before, I've not heard of before, really know what the filmmakers are trying to achieve in this. They understand the fun of it, the feel of the film, and the general aesthetics of the film. And because of that, they do what they need to do correctly. They're over the top in their acting in a way that works for Hallmark films and those kind of over the top fun, over the top, tug at the heartstring kind of Christmas films that they're trying to make every year. So the lead in this film is played by Storm Steenson, and she plays Mary Lady. She is fantastic in the lead. She really excels at playing the lost big city girl in a small town, bit dopey, very wide-eyed, who's desperate to find love but doesn't quite know that yet. She does that really well. Sometimes it's pushed a bit further than it needs to, but that's very rarely happens, and her role in this does shine through fantastically. Next we have the love interest, who's played by Alexander Oliver, and he plays Chris Miss. You can see the joke in that, I'm sure, and that joke is played a lot in this film. He's the dopey, stubborn, misses the obvious kind of character, as most love interests are in these kind of films. I'd say at the main four cast in this, he is the weakest. Sometimes he is a bit too much over the top, or sometimes he's a bit too underplays a role. And when everyone else is playing at this level, sometimes he's this level, and sometimes he's this level. So sometimes it just doesn't hit the right marks, but that's not taken away too much from him. He's still a fantastic character. His comedy timing is sometimes a bit premature, and his jokes are obvious, but it's still enjoyable to watch nonetheless. Next we have his brother, who's played by Liam Marshall, who plays Keith. Keith's a really good character in this film, and mainly through the acting. He's got great comic timing, and when he plays shares a scene with Storm, Mary Lady, when it's just those two and they work off each other, it's an absolute joy to watch. It really is. You kind of end up looking forward, when you see it's going to be those two in a scene together, you kind of look forward to it, because between the two of them, they know how to work off each other, and their comic timing between the two of them is fantastic. And as I said, it's something you do end up looking forward to, and it's the scenes where you get the most laugh out loud moments, just with their off the just throwaway lines, let's say, throwaway comedy lines, which really do get you. And it is those lines throughout the whole film, the throwaway lines, that really make you chuckle out loud. And then finally, out the main four cast members, we have Jacob Hogan, who plays the time-travelling English prince, Arthur. He 100% has the best action ability in the whole film. He portrays the dopey character, the compassionate character, and sometimes the funny character. And he does it fantastically. He does it really well. You find yourself looking forward to his scenes to see what he's going to bring, which at the beginning of the film, it would be a shock to hear, because his character makes no sense in his whole film. The fact that he's a time-travelling English prince, it's never explained or doesn't really have a conclusion in this film, and does make you question. And it's never answered in this film what his whole point of his character is in this film. And in his first scene or two, he's quite annoying, and you dread his later scenes, and you really hope that he's not a long-term character. So when you do find yourself about 30 minutes into this film, find yourself really gravitating towards his character and really looking forward to his scenes and his jokes and the acting ability he's going to bring to the film. As I said, it is a shock, because he is the standout star in this film. Even though his character's confusing, he has some of the funniest moments, not the funniest moments. I'd give that to Keith. I think he's hysterical in this film. But Arthur really does have some fantastic moments. And as I said, his action ability shines through in this film. He's someone that, if I see in a future film, I will definitely be looking out for. As I said, I think he's a standout role. I believe him and Storm Steenson are the standouts in this film. As I said, I did enjoy when it was Mary and Keith together, but as independent roles in this film, it was Storm and Jacob who steal the show. Jacob by a country mile, but Storm really was fantastic as well. So there are obviously other side characters in this film. We have Mrs. Clovenwich, who's played by Holly Chester. She basically is the elder statesman of the film. She kind of guides the film through with her knowledge, let's say. Obviously still a comedy and stupid character, but she is hard to watch sometimes, as some of her scenes are a bit overdrawn and it feels like her character overstays her welcome. Her jokes are miss more than they do hit, in my opinion. And at times, even though her character is to help progress the story in the right direction, it slows the story down when she is just trying to get as many laughs as she can, but not getting them. It slows the whole narrative down, in my opinion. I think her character would do well with some edits in times to just shorten some of the scenes up to make them a bit more snappier. As I said, she's important to the film as she does progress the characters in the right direction, but maybe she doesn't need as much screen time. Then we have the villain of the piece, which is my ex. A lot of the jokes in the film, who's played by Sean Vincent. At times, or most times, he's hard to watch. It's very much childish humour, but in a sense that when you're a child, you'd still find it a bit cringy, as it's all poo and fart jokes. I didn't really enjoy his scenes at all, and I never looked forward to him being on screen. But then we have his henchman, who's played by Brandon Barry. He, as I said, a lot of the actors are acting on one level. We had Chris, who a bit up and down. His henchman is there the whole time. He overacts to the point where it's difficult to watch him. Even when he has no lines and he's actually in the back of a scene, he steals the scene because you can't stop watching him going, what are you doing? It's taking away from the film. He takes away from the narrative. He's just so over the top where it's actually unenjoyable to watch his scenes. I don't know why he's in the film. It felt like they put him there to enhance the villain's character's comedy scenes, but the villain character, my ex, isn't that funny, in my opinion. The henchman steals a scene in the worst possible way, in my opinion. But let's jump into the pluses and minuses of this film. We can start with the minuses, then we'll jump into the pluses. The minuses, the acting of the supporting cast is too over the top at times, and for a film that requires over the top acting, is really saying something. The jokes in some scenes feel like they're just throwing as many jokes at the wall in the hope that something lands and sticks. This, I would say, only is about for the first 30 minutes of the film. And some of these scenes have some really funny jokes in it, but because they have no time to breathe, they're lost completely. And only if you're lucky you catch some of them and have a good chuckle on them. But a lot of times they're throwing so many jokes at you, it's like, and a lot of them aren't that funny. It's kind of an overwhelming experience. You're like, okay, need to calm down. You're making a scene hard to watch. As I said, that's only about a half an hour to 45 minutes in the film, until the film finds its feet and finds its rhythm. And that's when they give jokes time to breathe. The storyline takes the lead, and the film becomes a lot more easier to watch and a lot more enjoyable. And you have more time to enjoy the joke. Arthur's character as a time-travelling Englishman, as I said, doesn't make sense in the film and is never really explained. And I think that's definitely a minus. I don't understand why he's a time-travelling English prince. It could have been. It needed to be in the film because I've said he was the standout star in his film, in my opinion. But it's a weird role. It was a very weird role. And that's it for my minuses. There's not that many minuses in this film. But let's go to the pluses. The humour in this film, when it lands, is fantastic. It's really funny, and I guarantee you will laugh out loud in this film at all the right times. I said sometimes it can be a bit lost, jokes can, or some of the childish humour, but when the jokes land, they're fantastic. And sometimes there's a little throwaway line in there which when you catch really made me belly laugh, really made me laugh out loud. And I think that's an absolute standout point of this film, is just the throwaway lines, and you're like, oh, did they just say that's really funny? And you do find yourself really chuckling. Definitely a plus. The acting of the 4 main cast, they really know the feel of the film. Obviously, I said Chris wavers a bit, the Christmas character, but at the 4 main ones, I really think they make the film. If you didn't get a strong 4 main cast, this film would have died. They really cast very well in the 4 main of Mary, Chris, Keith, and Arthur. And I'm just going to throw something. It's not on my notes at all, but the fact that I knew the characters' names really well, and I didn't have to look them up or anything, they really shows the writing ability of this film. Because this film was very well written. It was very well written. I said the jokes may be a bit too much at times, but the general storyline and the feel of it, the writing was absolutely fantastic and definitely a standout. And it really made me, I knew the story. I watched this late last night and wrote the notes this morning. Well, not for when it was filmed, obviously. I filmed this a few days beforehand. But as I said, and I slept on it, and I woke up in the morning, I knew the film, it was still in my mind, and I knew about the characters, I knew the character developments and their names. That is actually quite rare in a film, because sometimes you, especially in a comedy film, where you watch a film and that's it, it's a throwaway film. All you remember from the film is, I enjoyed it. There's a lot of massive blockbuster Hollywood comedy films where I absolutely adore, and my favourite comedies. I generally couldn't tell you the characters' names the next day. I could probably tell you the general gist of the film, and the most importantly, I could tell you what I enjoyed it. This film, I remember the gist of the film, I remember the storyline quite well, I remember all the character names. That is the sign of solid film writing, in my opinion. But anyway, back to the notes, because that was literally just something that popped in my head. This film does achieve exactly what it's meant to do as well. It's a parody of the cheesy Hallmark Christmas films. So that goes back to what I said, the fantastic writing in this film. It's funny, it has heart, and it's definitely a fun film. So, in conclusion, if you're going to watch this film, know what film you're getting into. I said watch a trailer, read a bit about it, just so you know what you're getting into, or else this film will definitely go over your head, and I don't think you would enjoy it as much as you can enjoy this film. So if you do want just a fun, funny Christmas film that doesn't take itself too seriously, it has, I do recommend this film. I do. It is a film I would recommend for that reason. Is this the best comedy film I've ever seen? Absolutely not. No. Is this a film I enjoyed? Absolutely. I did enjoy this film. So, if to score this film, I'd give it a very strong 6.5 to a light 7. But that is just my opinion on this film. Have you seen this film? I would love to know what you thought of it, what your scores were, and your general thoughts on the film completely. If you've not seen this film, are you going to be watching this film? Did this review help? Please do let me know in the comments. I do respond to all comments, so let's do start a conversation down there. And if you did enjoy this film, please do hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, movie reviews, trailer reactions, general movie talk, and of course that weekly movie news, if that does sound like your sort of thing, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd mean the absolute world to me. I do hope you have a good day. I am Mr. Scotty Pie, and I am out of here.